So let us start. So the first question, when I went through your profile, it said that you had started Mitra during your engineering life, right? So tell us how it affected your family life, like, whether they supported you because you were an engineering student. Did they support or did you have any difficulties? How was it?
Okay, before I answer that question, thank you so much. I mean, I know Dr. Ramesh and Dr. Ganeshan is not here, but on behalf of them as well, and on behalf of Dr. Rama and the Alumni Association, thank you so much for having me here. I know this is the first episode, and I'm pretty sure. I really hope that this is not your last episode. I really hope that you'll have many more episodes like this, and to truly add value to a lot of students within the university as well. Also, Bhuvna, thank you so much for that introduction. Uh, I mean, moving on to the question that you asked when talking about Mitra and correlating that with engineering and how did my family support or not? Absolutely. I think it's a very interesting question and it's a very important one as well. Family at that point of time, of course, they knew I was juggling a lot of things. They were, of course, worried about the fact that will I be able to manage whatever we were doing already in the first place. They were also, they were also curious to know how I am, planning to attend classes and juggle what I was doing in college with the club and things like that, and at the same time manage operations because predominantly we were operating in Bangalore. So I started this just before I moved to Chennai, and I personally was handling only mostly I was handling the operations and backend from Chennai, and I used to get involved in the teaching only when I was probably during my semester breaks and all of that. So mostly it was not because I was really good at it. It was because I had a fantastic team behind it as well, and most of them were phenomenal. And even if there were some client calls during college hours, all I had to do is just forward these calls to my teams, and they ensured conversion. They coordinated, they spoke to the students. So it was never just me. It was because like you rightly put, family was great. They were supportive. My team was great. They were on top of a lot of things. So yeah, but to give you an answer in one line about the question, I had complete 100% support from the family, predominantly because they trusted what I was doing. And I just was very lucky for that. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it is actually important that we get family support. Otherwise, it's kind of difficult for us. Next question for you here, Arun. Now that you're soon launching Wizr, that is an application to find a personal financial advisor, tell us how you were able to come up with this idea.
So because I was working in the personal finance space, which is always that space almost it's almost like that space found me. It's not like it honestly speaking it happened to me. But if you have to really say how did I come up with the whole idea and how did we actually start and things like that, it's all about to be very honest, it's all about identifying gaps, right? So I give a lot of credit to genuinely, finding gaps in the system. That's it. Just find wherever there is a need, wherever there is a problem, and you need to find a solution for that. So because I'm in the personal finance space, a lot of my friends, a lot of my immediate colleagues who were not working in the personal finance space, they always wanted to be like, they always came up to me and like, okay, you're working in this space, why don't you manage my money, right? Why don't you tell me where to put my money? Or why don't you tell me how to go about things? And generally, like, I have some money, I have some surplus. The only thing that I know is, let's say, fixed deposits, or maximum I know some LIC and all of that. But I don't really know, half of the things that come up on TV, or I don't really know how to invest my money or grow my money. I don't know anything of this sort. So can you help me? So I can help 2 people, I can help 3 people, I could probably help 50 people. But what do I do if I have to help 1.2 billion people? Right?
Yes.
So if I have to scale, I really need to find a platform where people can just come in and just download the application and then find experts who are listed experts who could probably help them with their money, right? Now, for that, secondly, what do I have to do? I really have to know if there are experts out there in the country, right? Now, you'll be surprised to know that there are 1.2 lakh listed experts, financial experts in the country, right? Now, where do I find them? You can either go to Just Dial and then you'll be bombarded with spam calls, right? Or you could probably go to Google and then you will have who does the best SEO on Google, and their ad will pop up right on top, right? But do I really have a platform where I can validate these experts, see what they've done, how many clients have they helped, how much money are they managing, how long have they been in the industry, what is their actual expertise, and then from there, can I really go ahead and book an appointment with them and have a quick chat with them, understand with them? You don't really like that expert, fine, just go on quickly. Let's move on to another expert. Have a call with 2, 3 experts, see who fits for you, and then take that person's guidance to help you invest, right? So at this point of time, when I talk about Wizr, I'm probably about 1 or 2 months away from launch. When I say launch, it's the launch of the actual paperwork and licensing and all of that. But apart from that, if you ask me validations, it's been great. So when I actually came up with the plan initially, it was not this simple, right? That's the most difficult part about coming up with a business idea per se. The answer to that question is very simple. If you build a platform like that, okay, it's going to be great, but will people be ready to pay for this platform, right? That's where the crux of the business lies. People will love it. You're going to build a platform where you're going to do matchmaking between an investor and an expert, but can you also make money out of this? Is there a business proposition to this, right? Once I started digging deeper into that, once I started understanding that better, once I had enough and more validation from the market itself, that's when I decided to go ahead and launch Wizr, and then taking that as a serious business proposition by itself.
Great. Yes. So you say that you found out there was a bridge between, there was a need for that platform, and you try to do that, right? So you found out that there was a need for this platform, right?
I don't think figuring out a need is going to solve the problem. You have to really figure out if there is a need, and will there be people willing to pay for that also. Otherwise, there's no business. Otherwise, you end up becoming goodwill, right? Otherwise, there's nothing beyond that's happening there. It just ends there. There is a need for a lot of things, but figuring out that if you can really solve a problem, okay, great. But if you solve that problem, will people be ready to pay for that? That's the real question.
Exactly. Let's move on to the next question. So this is my favorite question, actually. You're still a popular alumni for starting Surgery Comics. So can you give us some insights on how you were able to match the creativity and teamwork for Surgery Comics' success?
Okay, so it's again, till now it's been my favorite question as well. So Surgery is a project which is which is very close to me, and which is in terms of personal validation, that's been a big project for me, and for the team in general, that we managed to do. So to be very honest with you, Surgery is a perception about me ideating it and then putting it out there and all of that, is completely wrong. It was a big, massive team effort, right? So it just so happened that we were at that particular year, we were I think our topic for that particular year to do Litfest or Glitter Crazy, I'm not sure, that the topic was virtual literature. That was the topic. That was the paper that we were really looking at. So my intention was very simple. My intention was very straightforward. That by the time, so this happened in 2014. So I had been in the literary seminary from late part of 2011, if I'm not wrong. So my intention was very clear. We were doing too much of small time stuff. Let's try and hit a bigger scale, right? We were doing okay. We were doing small university events. We were doing intercollegiate events. Great. We were having interstate events. But how can how can the team and I really put the university and the club on a national map? This was the intention of that particular. When I really looked at it from the outside, that's what I wanted to do, and I was very clear with that as well. So at that particular point, that's how the team operated as well, because the communication from ma'am also was very clear. This is what we want to do. We have a massive uphill task to achieve, and where do we start from, right? So luckily for me, that particular year, Comic Con was coming to India. And since Comic Con was coming to India, no better time for us to do something, do something about this. And also, it will align very well with virtual literature and all of that. So, okay, great, Comic Con is coming. So let's launch our own comic series. Like, why not? Like, we have the capability, we have designers, we can come up with our own script. Production might be an issue, but then we can still go to the college and ask them. So there's no harm in really asking for it, right? So you can really figure out what we have to do. So if it's a reasonable enough plan, then we, for all in a few months, we can become the first engineering college who launch their fully fledged comic series, which is produced in-house, created in-house, distributed in-house, everything, right? So we wanted to do the complete picture end to end. Otherwise, see, we could have, honestly, Surgery could have been done in half the time if we outsourced the designing, if we outsourced everything else, or even if we had the kind of tools that we have today, we could have done it in half the time, right? But that was not the intent at all. We wanted to do this completely in-house. Let's see how 50 people, 55 people can work together and come up with our own series and launch it in Comic-Con, right? So this was the intention. Intention was very, very clear. Put the university, put the club on the national map. If Comic-Con is a global event that's going to happen, let's put it on the global map. Great. If that's going to create the buzz by itself. So that's how it started.
Yeah. I'm also happy that I was there at that time. I could experience the promotional.
Oh, I'm sure whoever were part of the club by then, everyone turned to some part of designing, to some part of creative thinking, to something, right? So because we did a lot of interesting stuff during that phase. Look at you. I'm pretty sure that you did not even go near the system to even touch Photoshop, but then you ended up designing the invite today, right?
Exactly.
So that's it is a big skill at one point of time, but that's the kind of compounding effect the club itself had on people. Not taking away anything from that. Like I said, I reinstated that purpose as well. Intention was very clear at that point of time. So idea generation was fairly more simpler because 50 people were thinking on one particular idea for months together. So it was a fairly simple process once the intention was clear.
Sure. Now, I want to ask some general questions for the future entrepreneurs. So, firstly, I would like to ask how to move from an idea to an MVP to a fully fledged business very quickly. Now, because you have a lot of experience right from your engineering life till now, launching Wizr. So, what's your key points?
Uh, 3 steps: validate, validate, validate. Nothing else, right? If you want to move from an idea that you write on a tissue paper to, let's say, a minimal viable product or an MVP to a fully fledged business, you constantly have to, from at the ideation process, you will really have to be ready to validate this process, put this out in the market, even if it is, I don't know if many people know about Ankur Wariku. Ankur Wariku said one very interesting thing. So he's the founder of Nearby. He's also a phenomenal speaker for people to hear online as well. He's an inspirational speaker as well. So he comes up. He says it's very simple, right? Even if you really want to try and test out an idea today, right? Quickly come up with a website. Even if that's not a fully fledged business idea, right? Just quickly come up with a website. See how people are reacting to this website, right? Just see how people are reacting to this. Figure out a way to say, let's say, if you want to put out some articles or put out some blogs or something like that, see if people are willing to pay like 5-10 rupees for the blog also, right? Which means you're really adding value, and then people are ready to pay for this also, right? So if you want to move from an idea to an MVP to a fully fledged business model, first you figure out an idea where you have a real core problem to solve. Secondly, figure out if people are ready to pay for this idea or not. If the first 2 steps, even if you get stuck anywhere in the first 2 steps, revisit your idea all over again and then come back. Thirdly, don't be stuck up on the idea. Be willing to reiterate the idea. See, a lot of founders that I personally met and I've personally interact with as well. A lot of founders go through this dilemma of they have an idea in place. They are not willing to change this idea at all because that was their initial thought process, and they think the market is going to accept this thought process, no, come what may, because they are very confident about it. You'll be very disappointed. You'll be very disappointed that if that's going to be your journey, right? If someone's going to give you a critical feedback and they really invest time in your idea, never let those people go for the entire lifespan of that idea. Keep those people close to you, and if they have something very nice or very bad or whatever it is to say about your idea, don't be willing. Be completely willing and open to change your plan if need be. Right? At every stage, be constantly willing to do that, because you start from a hunch. It's all 50-50%, right? You have a founder's hunch and you have the market reality. Founder's hunch is not always the right way to go about it, maybe. And then you have the market reality. I'm not saying the market is completely right at all points of time. I'm saying use that formula as a 50-50 formula where you take your hunch. At the same time, don't shy away from testing this out from the market. So straightforward, move from an idea to an MVP to an end product, validate the idea, test the idea extensively, figure out if people are willing to pay for this idea. Don't be afraid to reinvent the idea if need be. And then, this one point I really want to mention. Most people feel that the first thing that they have to do if they have to run a business is first I will have an office. Second, I will design my visiting card. Third, I will design my logo. Fourth, I will start making pamphlets and everything about my business, and then I'll go to the market. Please do not make this mistake. I accepted a public platform. I've done it in the past. Okay, I have failed miserably by doing that because I was young and immature, and I did not have people to, put me in the right direction at that point of time. But then I'm telling you, that's not the way to go about it. The most important, the most and the only important thing about your business is not your initial investment, is not your visiting card, is not your pamphlet, is not your logo. It's customer. Just focus on that. Focus on your customer. Figure out, put all your brains, put all your time, put all your ideation to figure out if you're going to, how are you going to make somebody believe in your value proposition, and how are you going to make somebody pay for your value proposition. Simple as that. So if you're going to focus completely on your customer, your business is going places, because the customer is your biggest appreciator, is also your biggest critical feedback also, right? So just continue to focus on that. Then there's no stage, you don't move from an idea or an MVP or a business. You just become a fully blown business if you focus completely on the customer itself.
Okay. That's actually perfect. I had this answer, but it is good to have again by an experienced entrepreneur. So now to our last question. So it's always a branding, right? If you're from NIT, IIT, or IIM, people are sure that your idea is going to be a hit. So they are always
Right.
investors will always be ready to help you, fund you. And I've seen projects in IIT getting a lot of fundings and in crores and crores, but it is very hard for a person from from any institute, or a person a new entrepreneur to get investment, right? So I just I want you to give your insight on whether it is really important for a startup to be IIT, IIM, or NITs to get more funding.
I think it's a fantastic question that you have to ask, Romna. So this is market reality. Okay, this is where it is true. I wouldn't say that does the branding help? To an extent, yes. But does that make it a very successful business? Does it really, is it really a detrimental factor for you to start and generate customers and become an MVP and all of that? Nothing. Absolutely not.
Okay. Yeah, that was actually a question that I want to ask. And there are a lot of people who have asked this question in different platforms to different people. But yes, I
Right.
just want to hear from a person who is experienced. So
Sure.
now we are out of all the questions. I have a quick rapid fire session for you. So not more
Okay.
than 5 seconds you should take to answer it. Shall we start?
You stop me at that. I want. That's why.
Sorry, Arun, I was got stuck.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. So we are starting with rapid fire session. So
Okay.
you must
Go
stop.
ahead.
Yeah, not more than 5 seconds. Okay. So let's start. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Describe myself in 3 words. Okay, 5 seconds. I am lucky.
You're lucky.
You
Okay.
said 3 words. I think I'm very, very lucky. So that's how I'm going to describe.
Okay. So what are the 2 things you would
Yeah.
put on top of your bucket list?
3 things.
Yes.
Why are you so adamant about 3 things?
So you want everything. Yeah. Should I put that way?
Okay. On top of my, I don't know what list, bucket list or whatever it is, the only thing that is up there at the for me is Wizr, to see it through, to see to hopefully launching on time, to hopefully scaling in the right manner, hopefully doing the right thing with the product itself. That's what is on the bucket list. So,
Okay. So what have you done that you're most proud of?
oh, Sergi Comics.
Okay.
There, what a question.
What is more important, customer or capital?
Customer.
Okay. Okay. Your pet name that you hate the most. One pet name
Oh,
that
my
you,
what?
one of
I've
your,
never had pet name. How can you make a short name shorter? I've had a very short name all my life. So,
so yeah, okay. So the last one, on a scale of 1 to 10, how cool are you at these situations? Firstly, pitching in front of investors.
very cool. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, if 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, say 8.
Okay. Addressing a forum like this.
Addressing forum like this, if 8.
8. Okay. Writing a quantitative exam.
2.
Okay. Submitting a lab record. Don't ask me.
Okay. Submitting a lab record. Bhuvna, you should know this by now. Half of my lab records were written by you. So you wrote half of my lab records. So 2.
Okay, so it was really wonderful to have you, Arun.